Evening all, evening. Welcome to the Big Tune Chat again. I'm here with the lovely Sam. How are you doing, Sam?
I'm good. I'm feeling good. I'm off work for the next 10 days, so this is the start of my party week.
Well, don't go too hard because you have got a game to watch on Sunday.
Do I? Maybe it'll help.
So yeah, we're gonna have a bit of a chat about, that's a big glass, that's like a goldfish bowl.
Told you, it's a party.
You Irish don't go soft, do you? You always go hard.
That's it.
So game on Sunday, Tottenham Hotspur at home. How are you feeling about this game? Because I know Tottenham have been a bit of a bogey team for Newcastle. Only beaten them last season to break the little duck that Mourinho had. Not winning at St James's Park. How do you see the game going?
Yeah, it's interesting. I don't hold a lot of hope for anything at the minute. I remember I've told you before, and I think I've said it on other podcasts, my brother's a Tottenham fan. So I've grown up with Tottenham. My dad was Liverpool, my granddad was Man United. So there's always been football. And I remember the glory years when I knew we were going to beat Spurs. Well, I just knew it the same way as he felt like I do right now, that when we played each other, like Spurs were never going to win. And now I feel like there's so much going on. There's so much noise. I'm not sure how invested the squad is in trying to get a result, that although I think Mourinho's had a tough season, and maybe we'll talk a bit about Spurs and how they've gone. I just think they've got too much. Maybe Mourinho will overthink it like he has, but he broke that duck of getting the win at St James's. That's out of his mind now, and I can't see how he couldn't set the team up to get a result on Sunday.
Yeah, I think if the previous Tottenham game at the Tottenham Stadium back in, I think it was September or October, when the draw was 1-1 and we got a penalty in the 94th minute by a blatant handball by Eric Dyer, which was, I say blatant, but it wasn't really. I mean, VAR had a shocker. We didn't deserve to win. We didn't have a shot on target until that penalty, which Callum Wilson put away. If that game's anything to go by, it's going to be an absolute walk in the park for Tottenham again, isn't it?
Yeah, I just can't see anything different. And, I assume we're going to stick with this formation that we've been pushing players into. And, Tottenham's got a few injuries. Apart from Son, not really anything to write home about. I just feel like it's really easy to set up and play against us, and confidence will be a big thing. The only thing with Mourinho teams is they're not going to go out for the win, I don't feel, unless he makes a point of telling them to, which gives us a little bit of an opportunity not to concede in the first 10 minutes. But I as I said, with shape, with players missing, it's there for Spurs to win. And, they're fighting for fourth. They're 3 points behind. It's been a tough season for them, and their fans are on Jose's back, but they're 3 points off fourth, and we're scrapping for relegation. So, there should be fight from both teams. I'm just not sure whether we'll see that.
Yeah, I think obviously the previous game against Tottenham, Newcastle played 5-4-1, which was super defensive. It was absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
And I think given the injuries that we've got to Callum Wilson and Sam Maximum at the minute, obviously they're trying to get back to fitness, which I hope they do. I think they're going to make some sort of appearance against Tottenham. But the one thing I just pray is that Steve Bruce doesn't take a gamble on them, because what normally happens with that is they get injured again, because they're obviously not match fit. They've been out for a few weeks now. So I don't want him to take a risk with them, give them half an hour at the end, if that. But I mean, if he does, that'll just be game over from the start, because you can just see there's an injury waiting to happen for Wilson or Sam Maximum. I'm not sounding negative or anything like that. God knows I'd love them to play well and love them to play 90 minutes, but it's just a case of will they or won't they, really, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's not a game you look at and you think we need to win. We need to win everything, but we needed to win against Brighton and we didn't turn up. But you're looking at, not risking players. Almiron played against Brighton. He wasn't fit. He moved a lot more than players that were fully fit, but he wasn't fit. And you would get the same from ASM and Wilson. I'd be surprised if either of them make the bench, but maybe they will for that boost. But we need to be looking at Burnley as we have to get a result game. For this, we need to put in a better performance than we did against Brighton, because everything surrounding the team at the minute is negative, from the press, from the fans, from the players. There's rumours, there's leaks, there's all this stuff coming out. And you're thinking, guys, you need to get the focus off that and the focus onto what you're doing on the pitch pretty quickly. So the least that I expect is that they put in a decent performance. And, standards for decent performance with Newcastle are pretty low.
I think that's basically all that we want, is just basically a good performance. We're not asking much. I mean, we're probably not going to win the game. I'm not going to say that we're going to win 3-4-0, because I know we're not. I'll be happy with a point. I said it on a previous video that I think that we'll draw 1-1, given that Tottenham are due a draw, because in the last 10 they've won 7, lost 3, so they are due a draw, and so are we, because we've got 2 wins in 21 for 20 games, for God's sake. I mean, that's just absolutely outrageous. Jody Stephen, hiya Stephen. He says he always remembers the 5-1 win at St James's when Newcastle were already relegated, and the constant singing for Rafa for 90 minutes. The best thing about that game was we were down to 10 men as well, which makes it even better. And I just remember the photo of Mitrovic standing in front of the fans celebrating, and it was absolutely outrageous day that was. Guna Gossip TV just came across your channel and just subscribed. If you're watching, please drop the channel a subscribe. The link is down below. If you don't follow Sam on Twitter, her Twitter details are in the description. Keep up the great work on your channel. I'm an Arsenal fan here. Please beat Spurs at the weekend. Well, we're not going to make promises. All we can do is try. What do you make of Jose Mourinho? Do you think he's a bit defensive sometimes? He sets teams up defensively, then hits teams on the counter attack.
Yeah, he does. I mean, I love Jose, and my brother really doesn't. A lot of fans don't like him. And if we had the Spurs fan on tonight, I had so many questions that I wanted to ask, get that perspective, because you think about where we've been, and everyone talks about the entertainers. You've got the Keegan years, you've got the Bobby years. You had that season that Pardew got us into Europe, and apart from that, everything's pretty shit for us. Like, football's been dreadful for a long time.
Sorry,
and now we're. Pardon?
Sorry if there's any kids watching for the language there.
Sorry.
That's all right.
So yeah, so we're used to that. But Spurs, that you've got Jose coming in after Pochettino, who possibly could have been their best coach in recent times, and he just didn't get that trophy. And you're looking at Jose, as a lot of clubs have, as a pair of safe hands that costs a fortune. And this is probably the first time he's been really challenged in terms of, is he going to get a trophy? And his style is not to go out and take teams apart. He's not done it at any of his clubs. Even when he's had a wealth of talent, he has a certain way that he wants to set up. So it is defensive, but it's effective when he's got the squad on side. The problem with Jose in many years is he doesn't have the squad on side. He manages characters in different ways. He picks on players, which we've seen, even this season. Dele Alli, he's had issues with, but he wouldn't let him leave. Ndombele, he's had issues with. He has that in every squad. In Chelsea, it was Hazard. You can pick them all out. So he has a certain style, but I see fans that when we're talking about dreaming about what could happen to Newcastle, and we're thinking about a manager, that if someone says Jose Mourinho, they're like, nah, I don't want him. And I'm like, poking my eyes out, thinking, have you, the guy has won so many things, a bit like Rafa, completely different circumstances. Who are we to turn our noses up at that kind of a manager that can get the silverware? It might not be the best football, but look at the dross that we're churning out at the minute. So it's not pretty. And I do think from my conversations, with Spurs supporters, that they do want more. They expect more because the revenue streams, the new stadium, a lot of those players that they've brought through, they think that they're being held back a little bit. And if you look at the Harry Kane situation at the minute, and again, it's all rumbling from the England game, does he need to leave to better his career? And you've got Spurs fans saying, hold on, no. So what do we need to do to keep him? Well, you might need to change your manager. I'm not sure. So you've got all of those. Me, I would have Mourinho in a heartbeat. But again, as I said, that's looking at it from Newcastle fan now, because everything is horrendous for us. For Spurs, they almost won the Champions League. And now they're scraping and scrambling to try and get sixth. They're sixth at the minute. Yeah. They were sixth last season. They don't see improvement.
Yeah, you are right. I do totally agree with you there. They are scraping the barrel at the minute, trying to get into them European spots. I do think with Dele Alli, though, I mean, he has been treated a bit harshly, and I don't see why he wouldn't let him leave if he hardly plays him. Yeah. The same with Ndombele as well. I know he's had his ups and downs as well. He's sort of like not being bred into the team properly. And Harry Kane, I think if he leaves Tottenham, he's going to win trophies wherever he goes. I think that's the only way that he's going to win trophies, because I can't see him doing it with the current Tottenham team. And I do think in the summer, I've said this previously as well, I think Harry Kane and Son will both leave in the summer. I don't know why. I don't know where Son's going to go, because I think he might be getting frustrated at the fact he's not winning silverware as well. Stevens just says it's a big risk if Simon Wilson start as much as I want them to play. I'd be happy with him coming on as a sub. I agree. I think he's going to start, if he's going to play a 4-3-3, I think he's going to start Fraser, Joe Linton and Almiron. That's who I think he'll play. But we don't know what Steve Bruce thinks at the minute. We don't know what he's going to do. So we just have to wait and see, don't we? But I do think if they do start, then they're up there to be basically trying to get injured. But I hope not. Who do you think is going to be our starting 11 there, Sam?
I mean, this is the $1 million question. Does he change the lineup from last game? The only position, there's been a bit of chat about Dubravka, whether he'll start because he had a stomach bug, probably sick at the fact that he has to come back and play against Spurs. But, Hayden's out injured. Who's going to play? Is it going to be Jeff Hendrick? I mean, I don't want to say too much bad about him, but it hasn't worked so far. And you've got two young, hungry local lads on the bench that want to play, and for whatever fallouts and reasons, they haven't been considered. We massively miss legs, and I'm not saying that they're the best box to box, but I think they're going to offer a bit more than Hendrick. For me, he needs to change the shape, and I've been banging this drum since the injuries happened. It's not working, pushing players into unnatural positions. So either he needs to go to like a 4-4-1-1, or, what I thought about was Hayden was being played out of position on that left centre. Maybe put Richie in there, who's actually probably going to be a better fit in terms of getting balls into the box, being able to cover the fullback. But I honestly think that's maybe the only position that he'll change, is who's coming in for Hayden. They've had 300 days off. I can't imagine that they've trained on anything different, which is staggering. That he says he can't change it, and that's probably because they are never in training to do anything to change it. So I can't see him not change the formation, and until players are fit or match fit, I think he's just going to keep churning out the same rubbish and hoping that they get a lucky result out of it. So for me, I would put either a Sean, a Matty, or a Richie in that one position vacated by Hayden if he sticks at the same. But I just think there's a whole host of problems. I mean, you shouldn't have Shelby sitting in front of your defenders because it's not working. He's not defensive minded. It's inviting pressure. Central defenders, although he's had a couple of goals recently. How can Fernandez be out of the team and Lascelles in it? Clark hasn't been great. There's so much you could do. But if I think Steve Bruce, he's going to make one change, and that's going to be Hayden.
Yeah, I do believe that Jeff Hendrick will probably come in for Hayden. I can't see Matt Ritchie getting a game because obviously he called him a coward, so he's probably rotting on the subs bench at the minute. And obviously that we both know about the Longstaffs as well. So it's looking like it's going to be Jeff Hendrick, who's probably had one good game for her, which was the first game of the season, and then ever since he hasn't done very well. The same with Joe Willock. He started. He had a good debut against Southampton. He sort of went downhill a bit as well. I don't know if it's because of the way training is at the minute. Has he been trained in the wrong position? Has Steve Bruce had a bit of an impact on him? Nobody seems to know. Dave Harrison, evening both. Hope you're well. Evening, Dave. Spoiler alert, it's Henrik.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Dave must have insider knowledge. I mean, if he can tell with the full starting 11, that would be absolutely brilliant. And Stephen says Henrik will 100% start. I think Matty, one criminal that he offers a lot more than Henrik does. Yeah. I mean, we all know that. I think Matty Longstaff is regretting signing that new contract.
Absolutely. I wish, I wish he'd left. I wish he was playing football. For all those young guys, Elliot Anderson, they wouldn't let him go out on loan. He won't play him. Like he's ruining players by just not giving them opportunities. And when you talk about Joe Willock wasn't playing at Arsenal. He played Europa and some cup games. And he came in fire in his belly on loan. And then he obviously got acclimatized with the training, the facilities, the tactics, the expectations. And he's just a shadow. And I don't blame him for that in any way, shape, or form. I would love to be an insider for Arsenal, watching his progress and looking at his statistics in terms of each match that he's playing, because I can only imagine they're going downhill. Because it just doesn't suit whatever he's being asked to do. It's not suiting his style, and it's the same for all the young players. Matty and Sean have 1 year left on their contracts, as does Steve Bruce, and it'll be really interesting to see if it looks like Bruce is going to stay, which he claims he is. Can't see either of those boys signing. So what do the club do? Do they roll the dice and keep them on the basis that maybe Steve will continue not to do a good job and they'll get rid of him? Or will they potentially look to move them on in the summer and generate some funds? Like, as you said, if I'm Matty, I'm just thinking, this is my club. Do I try and wait it out? Or do I think, like Sean, his development's been stunted because he hasn't played. He was once linked with Manchester United, whatever that was. And now you'd be surprised if he got a game for Millwall.
Yeah, I think Sean Longstaff, I mean, I feel really sorry for him. Matty Longstaff can't even get in the reserves at the minute, all the under-23s, which is outrageous. I don't understand why. So Bruce is obviously running things really badly for Matty Longstaff at the minute. But just going off what you said about Joe Willock, I mean, if you look at the youth academy at Arsenal compared to the way things are happening at Newcastle for the youth as well, I cannot really see him sticking around with Newcastle. I know there's rumours saying that he wants to stay in this, that and the other. I don't believe them for a second.
Not if he's not getting a good experience out of it. He will have aspirations for his career. And we all think at a certain point it's playing matches, it's getting games, the same as Ainsley Maitland-Niles going to West Brom. It's to get games. Ainsley Maitland-Niles being really effective on West Brom, although I think it's just too late for them. But he's a real influence. Joe Willock's not getting the same opportunity to do that with us. So, he'll probably look at it in the summer and think, right, I've got matches under my belt, the fitness, but I can't continue to play there because when I look at the impact, the stats and things, I need to find a better fit for me, because you know, I don't want to use Jeff Hendrick as an example, but does he want to be a Jeff Hendrick that blends in? You know, he had his role at Derby, he had his role at Burnley, he fit it in, it worked, but it wasn't world beaten. Or does he want to aspire to get better under a better manager and coaching team, whether it's in the Championship or abroad, and see if he can push himself? I just don't feel like anyone is pushing themselves at Newcastle. And we had Almiron coming out and kind of giving an interview that's been interpreted in a couple of ways. That is, I want to be either with a team that fights or is fighting for more, as in progress.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think he'll be one of them that's out the door in the summer. I mean, if we do go down, I think there's going to be a massive exodus of players going out of the club. I think Saint-Maximin, Wilson. I think Wilson might go to Tottenham if Harry Kane decides to leave. That's what I personally think. Who else? Almiron, yeah, I think he'll be out the door. Joe Willock will not want to stay. And then if you look further back along the pitch, you've got Dubravka. I think he'll go. I think Darlow will be first choice keeper in the Championship again, which if I was him, I personally wouldn't appreciate, because he was given a chance in the Premier League, then he was dropped because of a couple of mistakes. Fair enough, Dubravka is our natural number one, but I mean, it's the Shea Given Steve Harper situation all over again. Both really, really good keepers. You just can't please them both, can you?
Yeah, that's it. I mean, I'm team Dubravka, and I just say that because I think all round he's better. But what a beep show that situation's become, especially if Dubravka can't play this weekend. Again, some of the rumours coming out is the way that those decisions have been handled. So is Steve Bruce going to go cap in hand to Darlow and say, by the way, you're starting this weekend? Sorry about what happened before. Or is he going to send one of the other 15 Steves to go and tell him, you know, you're going to be in the team this weekend? He probably never thought that could potentially be a scenario for the rest of the season. And I'm sure Darlow's the consummate professional and it won't impact him, but that has the ability to kind of blow things up again. So, yeah, I mean, when you're looking at players that potentially could leave, you've got a lot. You've got players whose contracts were extending. Fabian Schär, bless him, you know, he's got the injury, and I'm glad we've done that for him, because he could have been left in limbo, because COVID is having such a big impact on so many club decisions in terms of who they're keeping, who they're selling, because the money's going to be tight. But if I'm Fabian Schär, I could have been excited about my contract finishing and recovering from injury and going elsewhere. And now Steve Bruce, who didn't really play him a lot, never mind, you know, didn't play him in the right position, didn't give him the right role in the team, kept moving him about. He's now saying, by the way, I want you to stay for another year. I mean, I'd be devastated.
Do you think that he's doing this, basically renewing the contracts of certain people to try and get some funds in the summer, like Dwight Gale, for example? Do you think he's done that? I mean, Steve Bruce wouldn't have done it. I mean, I can't believe I'm having this discussion again, but Steve Bruce doesn't like Dwight Gale. He doesn't play him. So it's obviously someone that's like sort of undermined Steve Bruce and give him the new contract. I think someone's going to come in the summer with an offer for Dwight Gale, and they're going to take it. The same with Fabian Schär. I think exactly the same thing is going to happen, hence why they've extended his contract. I just think it's absolutely balmy. Got a few more comments on Dave SB. I won't type his name. I don't blame you. It's so petty. Anyone who says anything against him or does not suck to him is out and will stay out. Hence the long staffs. Yeah, that's right. Great to see you doing your thing from Pete, Sam. Yeah. Hi, Pete. I think Dave and Pete are having their own little private conversation on the chat. Nice. And haha, 15 Steves. Love that, Sam. And that's from another Steve. Would you believe it? Thanks for that comment, Steve. So just going back to the Tottenham game on Sunday, Easter Sunday of all days. I mean, I'm not going to be watching it because my fiance is adamant that we're going out somewhere on Sunday. I don't know where yet, but I'm just going to have to wait. So I'm not going to be watching it personally. I don't really mind, to be honest with you, because of the negativity around the club, the way we're playing at the minute. It's soul destroying, basically. I mean, the last game, the Brighton game, I stopped watching it after 70 minutes. I started playing golf on my phone rather than watching the actual game itself. I mean, that's how bad it's got at the minute. It is so depressing, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I just find more and more that I'm on Twitter, I'm ranting, I'm checking things. I didn't turn the game off against Brighton, but I just kind of laugh. I just am like, you become ambivalent to it. It's just this emptiness. I'm past even raging that much about it on Twitter and calling people all the whatevers of the day. It's just going through the motions, and that game, the players were going through the motions. So as a fan, we went through the motions. The only thing that I'm pretty excited about for the next round of games is they're early, so they're not ruining nights, Friday nights, Saturday nights, Sunday nights. Get them out of the way nice and early. If we want to have a wee bit of anger about what's happened, it's done and dusted and we get on with lives. But yeah, it's I told myself after the Brighton game I just wasn't going to watch, but here we are. We've had a bit of a break. The Twitter meltdowns have taken my mind off it a little bit. So now I'm back thinking, let's see what happens. They've all been refreshed. They've got a wee bit of time away from Steve Bruce, which I think is mainly the reasons for these days, is to try and quell the frustrations. So maybe it won't be as bad, but I don't expect anything at all.
Yeah. Pete says there's been talk that the club have negotiated Gale's deal and Bruce has nothing to do with it. Like I've just said, I don't think Bruce likes him. And I do think it's been done from higher above from where Steve Bruce's currently position is. Laura, evening Laura. Stephen, probably best mate, take yourself away from it all. I've got no real choice, to be honest with you. And Emma Jennings, I turned the Brighton game off when I started crying after the second goal. To be honest with you, I mean, when Brighton did score the second and third goal, I wasn't really surprised because of the way that we were playing. It was so defensive. It was absolutely awful. I wasn't surprised at all. There was no shock. There was no anger or frustration or anything like that. And I just thought, I'm not even going to bother watching it anymore. So that's why I turned it off personally. But I just hope that it's not like that for the Tottenham game, for all the fans watching the actual game itself.
Yeah, again, it's who turns up. It's that resilience isn't there. It's where are the leaders, where's the shouting? You've got Steve on the touchline. You've got Graham Jones, helicopter view somewhere in the stadium running down after 10 minutes to give instructions. Like, it's just such a mess. And, inevitably we'll have a couple of scares. Nothing will really change. The other team will get the first goal. And then, at that point, we've had teams in the past that will regroup and, get themselves together. I just don't see anyone trying to do that. And I've been so critical of Lascelles. Less so now because he's popped up with a couple of important goals. But you just don't see anybody saying, it's only a goal, get back to whatever the plan is.
There's no leader, is there?
No, there's not. And again, you've got people, as I said, in and out of the team, frustrated with their mates that aren't in the team, decisions being made, too many cooks on the side of the pitch, mixed messages. It's just swarming. And I've talked about this on a couple of other podcasts. If you don't feel like your manager respects you, you're going to struggle to show respect. And also with everything that's happened, what he said, what he's done, interviews he's given, players he's thrown under the bus, who's going to listen to what he says? So what we need is this group of players to pull together, like they keep saying they're going to pull together, but actually do it this time and start grinding out some results. Draw at the weekend would be great. Win would be perfect. But again, get themselves together and prove why they should be playing for this club. But again, they're all getting signed up anyway. So what do they have to prove? Yeah.
Dave Harrison says, my sport is archery, so I'll not be watching, I will be shooting. Guess who the bullseye will be? I mean, it could be anyone really, couldn't it? It could be Mike Ashley, Lee Charnley, Steve Bruce, Joe Linton, John Joe Shelby. I mean, the list goes on really. It could be, you could have a full squad in the middle of the archery board, that's what I think.
Also, Dave
Pete
might be the only person shooting on Sunday.
Do that suggest that Bruce is gone in the summer? Gail surely wouldn't stay if Bruce is to remain. We can only hope. That's all we've done for a while now. We've lived in hope, haven't we? Emma Jennings, I was just sad no anger left.
Yeah.
I know exactly how you feel. Stephen, we were shocking in that Brighton game, utter dejection for a couple of days after. I was actually watching the game with Stephen, and I mean, he'll tell you himself. I mean, I was just like this, but I had my phone in my hand at the same time playing golf, and it was just absolute balmy. Paul, evening guys, evening Paul. Pete Davey, the armband has outgrown the captain.
100%.
I agree, but I don't think Lascelles will be one of them people that will be out the door in the summer. I still think you keep him as captain because I can't see anybody coming in for him at the minute the way he's playing. He's not the best defender that we've got. I think Clark and Fernandez are the best two that we've got at the minute. Fair enough, he's popped up with a few goals, but that doesn't make you a really good defender. You've got to actually defend as well. Fair enough, you can get your head on the ball, but you've got to do your job at the same time. I mean, and he hasn't. I mean, he's shown that over the last few games. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the Lascelles a difficult one because you think about him from the past and the championship, and he knocked the heads together and he got us where we needed to be. But I look at it now and I think you shouldn't be starting because we had that problem in different formations where he was trying to get players to cover him, bringing the midfield back because of his lack of mobility. And he's always not quite on the half turn. He just looks so awkward. And I always think he's going to get booked. So, that's your leader, that's your captain. He's not as vocal. He's had injury problems and he probably shouldn't be in the team. But then the captain after that is John Joe Shelby. And I promised myself I wasn't going to rant about John Joe Shelby. So the only thing that I will say is, imagine thinking that was your next in line leader. Why would you go onto a pitch? What does Shelby show on a pitch that would inspire you to win a game? We've had instances where Fernandez wouldn't take the armband when things were dire at a previous point in the season. It's been given to Clark. It's been given to, I don't even know. People just pass it around. Captains outgrown the armband, but nobody else deserves it. It's mental.
It is. You're totally right. It's like a circus, isn't it? I mean, everybody gets a turn eventually, don't they? Paul J. Dave Harrison, don't say the misses. I think I might have missed something there. I don't know. Emma Jennings, too many Steves spoil the broth. Exactly what you said before, Sam. But you hit it spot on there. Dave Harrison, hi Paul. We absolutely not. I'm definitely missed something with these two. I don't really know what they're talking about. Austin says, Callum being back must be a huge boost for you guys. It is a boost. ASM being back as well is a boost, but I just want to reiterate what I said before. If we start them, I think we've just got an injury waiting to happen with them too because they're not match fit. They don't deserve. Well, I'm not going to say they don't deserve to start. I would like them to if they were match fit, but they're not. So I'm just basically going to leave that subject there because I think we all know how I feel now. Guys, if you are watching, can you please subscribe to the channel? The link is down below, and Sam's Twitter is down below as well as on her little picture on the screen, which is lovely. So what do you think a prediction for Sunday, Sam? What do you think the score is going to be? I'm going to go 1-1.
I just really struggle to see anything positive. As always, and I've never been like this, but I need to see the team sheet. I need to see what he's decided to do. But I can't see anything other than maybe a 2-0 Spurs win. I just think they're better. I think they're fighting for that 4th spot. They've got a couple of injuries, but they've got good enough players to come in. I think we're not inside Jose's head anymore in terms of that result. So unless this break has done something transformational, or we can, go out with the passion of a Keegan team, I just, we'll try and keep it tight. We'll do our best. We'll roll our sleeves up, and we'll probably concede in the first 30 minutes, try and get through to half-time, concede again after half-time, and then just wait until the match finishes. Because Jose won't, I don't believe will push it further than that. But I think 2-0 defeat.
Oh, interesting. Stephen says, I'm famous for my rants with Bruce top of the list. He says this, you know, and I think Stephen's got a bit of a soft spot for Steve Bruce. He always mentions this, but he never really, he's always got a soft spot for someone. I think he's got a soft spot for Steve Bruce. Paul J says 2 notes, lads. If you, Paul, Sam is a female.
That's
just
fine.
Just want to make that clear. And 2 now, I mean, is it to Newcastle or is it to Spurs? We don't know. Austin says 0-0. I would take that. And Stephen says 1-0 NUFC own goal. I mean, that would just about sum our season up, wouldn't it?
If it was for us, yes. Oh no, it's our own goal. Yeah, that would. You know, Lascelles, India's on net probably.
Yeah. I was just about to say Lascelles will be top of my list for that one. Okay, Sam. I'm not going to keep you much longer. It is man, for Christ's sake. Sam, make it that what you will. Guys, thank you very much for watching. Sam, you're an absolute star. Thank you very much for joining us. I hope to see you again very, very soon. But if you are watching the video, please drop it a like and subscribe at the bottom, and we'll see you on the next video. Thanks very much.